Das Comicfestival bei Splash Comics, kommt alle vorbei.
Und wir stellen im Stadtmuseum sehr, sehr viele Originale von Olaf Gulbrandsson aus.
Valentin-Karl-Stadtmuseum, nicht Stadtmuseum.
Völlig durcheinander. Ich habe schon Bier getrunken. Ich weiß gar nicht warum.
Aber im Stadtmuseum gibt es auch von Olaf Gulbrandsson Marionetten zu sehen. Also
richtig, ja. Holzköpfe, ne?
Holzköpfe, ja.
Ja, Holzköpfe.
Die Holzköpfe, die es nicht ins Rathaus geschafft haben, die sind im Stadtmuseum aus. Ja.
Genau, darauf wollte ich noch warten. Den Herr möchten Bier und Wasser.
Ja, danke schön. Danke.
Der Herr möchte Wasser. Ich nehme noch ein Bier, damit ich dann die Herrschaften ins Haus der Kunst verlagere. Ja, und wir sind auch sehr froh, dass wir hier im Bier- und Oktoberfestmuseum sind, nicht im Stadtmuseum. Und hier gibt es auch eine super Ausstellung, das Küken, das Bier und die Maus. Ihr habt auch die Möglichkeit, mit euren Bands irgendwie auch zu besuchen. Gut, und dann fangen wir, glaube ich, langsam an. Die Herrschaften haben halt einen Comic gemacht. Das war gestern Feier. Das ist Olaf G., das ist das Album. Da zeige ich jetzt ein paar Ausschnitte, ein paar Bilder. Die haben Drøbak, it's a town in Norway.
Yes.
Do you live in the near of Drøbak?
Yeah, it's a small town outside of Oslo.
Outside of Oslo?
Yeah, it's just a couple of miles, half an hour with the bus.
Very idyllic place by the Oslo fjord.
And it's a very small museum which you visit there?
Yeah, in an old house. It's a tiny little museum dedicated to a Norwegian newspaper cartoonist. But then they also show other things, and then they had this Simplicissimus Ausstellung.
Yeah.
And they called it Olaf Gulbrandsson and Simplicissimus, but it was Simplicissimus and Olaf Gulbrandsson. We were big fans of Olaf Gulbrandsson, but we didn't know so much about Simplicissimus, so we were disappointed with they didn't have enough Olaf Gulbrandsson.
And you expect very much in this exhibition, very much.
Yeah, we had high expectations,
Yeah.
and then there were no originals. They were just reproductions.
You can see there, it was pages from the Simplicissimus magazine mostly.
But no original from Olaf Gulbrandsson.
Not one, not a single one.
Yeah, there was a few, but they were just sketches that he had made when he was drunk with his friends in Drøbak while he lived there. And they were not his finest works.
Yeah. And since when was you fascinated from Olaf Gulbrandsson?
For a very long time, actually,
Yeah.
because of the Esvar Anmal, that was always also published in Norwegian.
Yes.
We read it and loved it a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a book that we discovered very early in the libraries, and I lent it, and it was a very appealing book, you know, when you were interested in drawings,
Yeah.
because you could really fast see that this man was a brilliant drawer.
Yeah.
Darf ich dazu kurz was angeben?
Ja.
Also auch das Buch, auf das sich die zwei Norweger hier gerade eben beziehen, Es war einmal, ist eben die Autobiografie von Olaf Gulbrandsson, die tatsächlich sogar zuerst in Deutsch erschienen ist und beim Piper Verlag. Das war 1934. In den 50ern hat Gulbrandsson dann nochmal die Fortsetzung gemacht, wo er dann auch tatsächlich sein Leben in München und Tegernsee beschreibt. Und das Buch heißt Und so weiter. Und davon gibt es aktuell immer noch im Buchhandel eine wunderschöne Ausgabe vom Piper Verlag. Die heißt jetzt Es war einmal und so weiter. Ist ein Doppelband in einem Band, kostet 8 € als Taschenbuch. Und das ist halt wirklich ein fantastisches Buch. Muss ich sagen, sehr amüsant, wie Olaf Gulbrandsson sein Leben erzählt.
Is Olaf Gulbrandsson very present in Norway? Do people know him?
I think it's a bit like in Germany that people who are interested in drawing and satire, they know him very well. If you're not particularly interested, you don't know him. But everyone in Norway knows his drawings. They just don't know that he made them, because he has made a lot of iconic drawings, like caricatures of Henrik Ibsen and such people, famous people from Norway. They are published everywhere all the time. Nobody knows who's made it except the people who are interested.
And why do you think he's forgotten?
It has something to do about the Third Reich, because he was living in. He went to Germany in 1902, and he became a German citizen quite immediately, and he went along with all this das Dritte Reich, and he didn't make a really opposition. He wasn't a member of the Nazi party or something. He was not active in it, but he was not taking the other side. So in Norway, Norway was occupied by the Nazis. So that was very unpopular to have a man who was a hero in Norway before he left to live and have a good time in the Nazi Germany.
Actually,
so he was not very welcome in Norway after that.
And actually there were people who were interested in caricature drawings that kind of suppressed him as an artist, you know, they kind of made him disappear. And this guy you see here, Blix, who's up there, another caricature drawer who was very inspired by Gulbrandsen. He's a very famous caricature drawer in Norway because he took the right side, you know.
Yeah. He worked for illegal papers in Norway during the occupation and made satire against the Nazis and so everybody loves him. And he had brilliant ideas, but his drawings are not as genius as Gulbrandsen.
Not at all.
Did Olaf Gulbrandsen often visit Norway after the Third Reich?
Because he wasn't allowed to.
He wasn't allowed to. He just he wanted to move home and die there, but he was not allowed. But he could come there and visit one time.
One time,
and
just
but,
one time visit.
But you go back to Bavaria and die.
You know, he became.
Yeah, it was that hard.
Because Gulbrandsen became a German citizen, I think, in 1908 or 3 or something, because they made fun of the emperor all the time, and if he wasn't a German citizen, they could throw him out. So they made him a German citizen.
made
him a citizen. Yeah.
It
So
was
then
not
he
allowed.
didn't.
It was not allowed him to go to Norway.
Yeah, because he didn't have a Norwegian passport anymore.
He was a German citizen.
So there were restrictions.
Yeah, and you see a movie in this, a short movie in this exhibition. You see the Tegernsee.
Yeah, it's actually a German television movie made in 1956 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Just 2 years before he actually dies.
Yeah.
He's very old and he's like swimming in his swimming pool and he's looking like an old walrus or something.
Yeah. And he looks, he doesn't look any happier in there. And we read somewhere about the story behind it. He hated to be on television. He hated the camera crew who was filming him all the time. He wanted to be left in peace. He was very old, and also it was extremely cold. But he was famous for his swimming and bathing in his pool. So they made him go down there and swim in the pool.
He often swims naked. Did he swim
Yeah,
naked?
always. He has this apron.
Yeah.
With
You can see it in the exhibition.
Fly.
Yeah. Aschenfrei.
Rushing fry,
but it was very cold and he was very old, so he got sick from it, and he almost looked at this as a murder attempt. The interview. He's very grumpy.
And he actually got very sick after this interview and almost died immediately.
Really?
Yeah, got a terrible flu.
The last pictures of him, you think?
I don't know.
I don't know. The last movie.
And then you visit the Tegernsee, and here we can see that in your comics, Steffen makes this picture and Lars makes this picture. You work together, and how do you decide who makes which picture? Do you speak about it or?
Yeah, we speak about it. It's like when you know in athletics, when you're running, you give the stick to the next runner.
Yeah.
And we do that if you do the part about this and that, then I'll take it from there to the next thing.
But it's also very important, you know, that Steffen has some qualities that I don't have. He's an excellent caricature drawer. Yeah, you sure do. And I do some stuff that he really would like to do, but he can't. So, you know, we gave each other assignments in a way, you know. And I said maybe we shared the manuscript really, and we did the manuscript. First Steffen did a manuscript and I did a manuscript, and then in my manuscript maybe I saw a picture that I thought Steffen should make. And I asked him, maybe you could do this.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing. This would Fiske do better than me.
So if you go a few pictures back, I think, could you go one maybe? Yeah, this is like in the beginning of the book, and I did a script, and then I thought Steffen could really do these portraits of these old Norwegian artists really, really good, and then I asked him. Then we saw it turn out perfectly.
Is it always a clear decision, or do you often have stride?
No, we never quarrel actually, except if we're terribly drunk, but then we're not working anyway. And it's always me who starts it, and it's not that often, is it? But never about the work. It's very good.
The only thing we quarreled about in the book is actually really ridiculous. It was the source page in the back. I don't remember the quarrel.
The
research
in the back.
Yeah. Stupid.
And it's
Very stupid.
And it's the same piece of paper. He starts it, give it
No.
to him. No.
So it's they have only the drawings have only met in Photoshop.
Yeah.
I have my original and he has his.
Everybody of you keeps your originals. You don't sell it. You don't sell the picture of.
I've sold a few.
You sold a few, but you never.
No.
You told an interesting story. You make paintings before and you make an exhibition. And you sell your best works.
Yeah, the audience come there. They know what they want, so they pick the best things, the spitz things, and then but not the rest. So you don't get rich, but you get robbed from the best things, and then you sit with all the rest. The whole of your production is not complete anymore, and you don't have any of the best work. And not a lot of money. So I was very frustrated. So I find it's perfect to work in illustration and in comics, because then you keep the originals, and everyone who wants them can see them. They don't disappear into a private home, never to be seen again.
Okay, and there you reach the Tegernsee. That's a Steffen painting.
Yeah, that's very stupid to pack. I don't even remember what did I bring in that suitcase.
I don't.
Was it a dead body?
It was
It was really that big. Everything is.
Yeah, it was.
Everything is true.
No, exactly.
It was extremely heavy.
Okay, now that's.
And that was before I bought all the Olaf Gulbrandsen books.
You bought also another.
We had a terrible hassle at the airport when we were leaving München, because we had the overweight from hell. Loads of books. We left clothes, I think, just to fit the books into the suitcase. This was before the internet, so you had to buy them at the spot.
Yeah, and you tell your story of your visit at the Tegernsee and at Munich, and you also tell the story of Olaf Gulbrandsen. It's perfect how it works together.
Thank you.
Also everybody should read that book. It's a brilliant comic.
I totally agree.
And you also visit Munich.
Yeah,
Yes,
afterwards.
You was for the first time in Munich while you are making this comic.
Yeah, we went to Munich, of course, first, and we took the train to Tegernsee, and then we had a few days afterwards. After we were in Tegernsee, we had a couple of days there.
We had a few days too many in Tegernsee and a few days too few in München. But we couldn't know that before we had done it.
But there are also much great picture of Munich in that comic.
Thank you.
And you enjoy it also here. You came back to Munich. It's now the third or fourth time.
Yeah, we came back with the Norwegische Rundfunk to make a TV show about the making of the book. So they wanted to, like we went to Tegernsee to walk in the footsteps of Olaf Gulbrandsen. Norwegian Rundfunk went with us in our own footsteps. It was
a
very weird,
bizarre experience.
we came to Lieberhof. That's a restaurant in Tegernsee. The host there, he refused to let us in. We knocked on the door and such, and he just said, "Go away! I hate television. Television have fucked me 10 million times. You will never get to do it again." He was so angry. We understood nothing. There had been TV crews from Germany who had
But the
done something very wrong.
The very bizarre thing with the television show that they made us do the exact things that we were doing in the book. You know, we had to stand by the Schwabinger river and look into the water, and we had to go by the Olaf Gulbrandsen grave, you know, and stand there like we did in the book, and it was bizarre.
We had to imitate ourselves in our own drawings.
Yeah, as real life comic book artists.
we like
big figures.
Now you try to look like the drawing you made of yourself.
Yeah.
So weird.
But the comic was a success in Norway.
Yeah, big success.
Actually, it was. Nobody believed in this. This idea that we was going to work together. All our colleagues thought that.
That's the stupidest idea they ever heard of.
Yeah, you two make completely different work, you know, it will never work, but have a nice trip to Tegernsee. So we are really proud that we proved them pretty wrong.
Yeah, even the publisher, who usually has 100% confidence in us, he was very...
But it was your first work together?
Yeah.
This comic?
Yeah.
And how long are you friends?
10 years.
10 years, I think. Yeah, we met at a comic book festival in Norway that really sucked, so we had to get out of there, and we found a great place to drink beer, and then we befriended.
What was a place, a restaurant, a beautiful restaurant, high in the mountain above the city. So you could take, you just went up there, and then you were above all the city and all. Beer with a view.
And the comic festival, was it a bit like this comic festival or completely different?
It was very commercial.
Yeah. We also try it.
But
not always works.
In Norway, it's the comic strips in Zeitung. They are the big time. That's the big deal.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it, and they're not so interested in other comics than that. So that festival is totally dominated by the popular newspaper strips, and then we find that quite uninteresting. Of course, it's very high quality and such, but it's not what we are into. For us, it's just like a joke with in 3 panels.
Yeah. But most of the Norwegian comic artists work for the newspapers.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's where the money are. If you're going to survive as a comic book artist and really make a living of it, you have to make newspaper strips.
And the suckers do albums and books. That's us.
They don't have so much foreign comic strips. They have Norwegian comic strips every newspaper.
Yeah, I think it happened during the 90s.
Yeah.
Because we had the Haga, the Horrible, and all that, the American crap that everybody runs. And suddenly they started to... Idiot.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be the idiot, so that's perfect.
So suddenly they started to run a Norwegian comic strip, and it was a huge success. And then suddenly everybody wanted comic strips. So now it's a big business for newspaper comic strips in Norway.
But comic books are like in France. No trends in Norway.
What?
You don't have comic books so much like in France.
No.
Well,
you have it, but they are not as popular. They are not as highly esteemed as in France.
But you said 4,000 copies of Olaf Geo.
That was our book.
Yeah, our book.
No, it was something very new. Was it 4 million, 5 million?
4 to 5 million.
4 to 5 million and 4,000. That's great.
But you know, this book really came in as a surprise, I think, and it was something happened in the reception, you know, of comic books. When this book came, suddenly people that didn't read comics started to read our books, so we kind of made it into the higher cultural levels. And we were like accepted by writers and, you know, serious cultural working persons, and it was like a wave breaker, really, this book in a way. And we made it.
It was very strange because or very easy to spot, because if you make a comic, usually your review would be from the comic reviewer, critic, comic critic. But we got it from the literary critics, and even the art critics, the fine art critics. But they took the place for the comic critic, and
which was,
I have never seen that before.
You've got also a lot of prizes for the maybe say something about the awards which you've got for the book.
No, we're too modest.
Well, I guess we won every major book award, at least for comic book work that year. And we also won a prize which is for the most beautiful, or most not beautiful, the most important book work of the year, you know, in any genre. So that was really nice.
Yeah, they really loved us then. Now they hate us now. No, it's okay.
No. So.
it's so it doesn't live a lot of people in Norway, so we can't live from making these comics, even though we are popular.
But I think the really best thing about this comic book that I think we will never forget is the enthusiasm that people who read it give us back. You know, they're like, "Oh, I really love this book." You know, we meet these people all the time, and it's fantastic.
People who come to the stand and want to have have a signed edition, they come back the next day to give one away and have a new signature and to give it to a friend. Then you feel you've done something that made an impression on people, and
that's really beautiful.
That's better than money.
Absolutely.
Das kann ich auch noch einen kurzen Einwurf bringen. Also die Frau von dem Jan Gulbrandson, dem Enkel von Olaf Gulbrandson, ist selbst eben auch großer Fan von dem Buch von den beiden, und die Gulbrandsson-Familie bedauert es auch, dass sie hier nicht anwesend sein kann, weil sie jetzt in Norwegen im Urlaub sind. Und aber zu jeder Geburtstagsfeier, wo die Ulla Gulbrandsson eingeladen ist, verschenkt sie halt immer das Buch von Lars und Steffen.
Ja, das habe ich noch verstehen.
Okay.
Danke.
And your next project is Canon. You have already published in Norway 3 parts, Canon 1, Canon 2 and Canon 3. What's about the story?
There are two separate stories. After the Olaf Gulbrandsson, we did what everybody wanted us to do, Olaf Gulbrandsson number 2, about another cartoonist. And that's the only thing we ever show we wouldn't do. We love to work with each other. So we find out I make my story and he makes his story, and we put them together. And we publish it every year, new chapter every year. And then we have we have our own graphic novel
coming up, you know, in a few years. But because you know the problem with Olaf G, it took so many years to make, and you were like working, and you never got the pages published. So
we were 2 people working for 2 years. So if you should do that alone, it would take 4 years. 4 years without publish a page. You would starve, and then you would be hungry for publishing. You need to see your stuff in print after you work with it.
So in Canon, Steffen does a story about Edvard Munch, the famous Norwegian painter, and I choose a German Dadaist called Kurt Schwitters, so it's still, we are really still dealing with artists that has very much to do with the Norway-German kind of relationship, because Kurt Schwitters was also very fond of Norway and he stayed there for many years.
There's no plan in that. It's just coincidental.
It's coincidence.
But we always end up in Germany, and we love it here.
We are really big fans of German also.
If there's a plan behind it, it must be because we love the beer so much.
And they only meet they only meet once, or these 2 characters, they only meet once, these 2 artists.
Yeah, they do, because Kurt Schwitters is living in Oslo, I think I guess it is in 1938 or something. Then he is actually in exile because he was entitled, and he has to move from Hanover or escape. And then he decided to go and see Edvard Munch because he needed the support, you know. Nobody understood his art, and he thought that maybe Edvard Munch, you know, the great artist, he will understand me. But he was actually a very old man, and he hated visitors. So
he was a recluse on his old days.
Yeah, so that was really bad.
I went to paint, don't go away.
It didn't go very well at all.
but it was...
well, I think
he was polite. Edvard Munch was polite.
He was polite, and he asked if Schwitters wanted a cup of coffee, I think, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure." And then Schwitters would keep talking and telling all about his art,
he stood in the door. He never invited him.
And then he just stuck the coffee out, and then he said goodbye.
So Edvard Munch felt he had been polite to his guests. He gave him coffee, and he said hello to him, and then he stood on the stairs.
Yeah, was the wrong guy to contact.
After you published the first edition of Canon, the people think it's complete, it's over.
Yes, the reviews were like it was a graphic novel, complete with an ending. They didn't see that it was 2 separate stories. We linked them together, but not so tight.
Yeah. So
and we even wrote to be continued, but nobody noticed it. It was just we got good, very good reviews, but didn't understand it was a continuing story.
Then follows two more books.
yeah.
It will also give a fourth book.
Yeah, we'll do this until we either die or become enemies.
Yeah, that's our motto.
And we also meet Olaf Gulbrandson in this book.
Yeah, you noticed that.
Yeah. I think Olaf Gulbrandson will be back once more in Canon. Actually, it's when we did the book, we could actually have gone on doing Olaf G for another year if we really wanted to, because the material was enormous and very rich and very funny. So we had to put out a lot of stuff, and we still have all this stuff lying around, and it's really tempting, Ooh, I want to do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
What happens there with Olaf Gulbrandson?
Just Olaf, Edvard Munch is challenging Olaf Gulbrandson.
Yeah.
Olaf Gulbrandson is a famous strong man. He was always boasting of his muscles. And Edvard Munch, he was a weasel like that, but he was a hothead. And he went into fights with a lot of people.
And that really happens? I don't think
yeah.
so. Exactly like that?
That is Olaf Gulbrandsson's words. So if it really happened or not, I don't know. But Olaf Gulbrandsson claims it. So he's just boasting that I beat the crap out of Edvard Munch.
And this is,
I wasn't there, so I can't testify to the authenticity. But I thought it was a good story. I have to draw that. That's visual.
This is a very important point actually that we are talking about now, because these comic books that we are making, and especially now in Canon, it's basically only built up around the artist's own words or other people that actually met these persons. So we don't use any of our own words.
Citaten.
Yeah. So and that's really important. And like this is like the main basic idea for this project, to be really as close to the object as possible.
So we don't, like a biographer usually do. He takes the sources and he writes it in his own words. He rewrites the sources. We don't do that. We quote them exactly, word for word.
Because what we really discovered is when you rewrite the artist's word, as they do usually, you lose everything.
Yeah,
and if you rewrite Kurt's Ritters, then everything is most certainly lost, because he has a very specific way of expressing himself. And so also with Gulbrandson, of course, and Edvard Munch.
Yeah, you lose the personal tone that they have. Then they write in this particular way, maybe quirky or whatever, but they have a certain temperament and personality in the style.
Yeah.
The style gets lost if you force it into your own style to make it all fit together. So I'd rather have a mosaic or a collage of authentic pieces than a smudge that's but it's slightly less authentic. And yeah.
This time you had to visit Berlin for research.
Yes.
And make photos, I think. Or?
No funny hats, but funny. Stefan incidentally had a neck injury when we went, which was a very tempting thing to draw.
You call him Pastor?
Yeah, Pastor, yeah. That's an incredible.
You have the same word in German, Pastor?
There was this,
that was the only thing I understand while I look at this comic book. Pastor.
There was this very strange moment on the train from Berlin to Hanover when we were sitting in the seats, and I looked back and there was a nun sitting there. So I raised up and took the picture of him with her back, just like the almost insane.
That's not there.
No, it's not there. It's later.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
It was I looked kind of stupid. I also looked like a Mertzbau from Kurt Schwitter's Dada.
Yeah, like a Hugo Ball person. Yeah.
I looked stupid.
You certainly did.
Okay, that's a sample for Munch.
Yeah, that's a painting from Edvard Munch that I just made a parody. That's one of the, what do you call it, the Lorenzeichen? I did it to subsidize to get money to draw my cartoons, my comics. So I illustrated a book for youth about Dortmund. And that's just a parody of one of his pictures. People, the girls on the bridge.
I think it's have nothing to do with the complete story. It's only at the end of the story.
Yeah, it's just one shot.
One shot. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, and you also publish your comics in a compilation of Norwegian artists.
This is like a there are three major alternative, if you could call them, publishers in Norway, and they decided to join venture, indie publishers, whatever you should call it. And they decided to join their efforts and make a compilation of the best of Norwegian work. And this is like the third issue, and it was really made for a big festival in New York. So, but anyway, we bring it with us, and it's really a good thing to bring with you to get people to know the stuff easier.
It's of course we want to get rich and famous.
It's in English language.
And we actually we know that we will never be that.
It's looking kind of dark.
And it's in English language. You sell it worldwide.
This is not commercial. You can see that it's not commercial.
It's not commercial.
Another aspect of when we choose to work with our artists, you know, it was a reason why I choose to work with Kurt Schwitters, because it's very appealing to my artwork, and that's why Stefan made his choice as well. You know, we have this very personal relations with these artists, and one thing that we really do when we make our comic books is to be kind of influenced by the artist's own artwork, and we try to put that into the page. And this is very much a combination of Kurt Schwitter's artwork, and he was a very famous graphic designer, of course. So I used all these things to be inspired, and I put it into to make it something new and organic in a way, to tell the story. And then the quotings is in red is his own words. It's like the short story of his life. It is very funny, of course.
Okay, I think that's all I have in pictures. Have anybody a question? Jemand eine Frage an die beiden Künstler? Über ihren Comic?
Does the Kanun series comes in German also? You know?
No, there are no plans for that at the moment.
So we have to talk with our fellow.
Yes, please do.
Maybe when it's complete, or maybe then you will have a chance. Huh?
Right. Yeah, I think the foreign publishers are waiting for. They want to have the complete Kurt Schwitters story or the complete Dortmund stories, because I think it's hard to publish a thing like that. That's just chapters, 2 chapters a year from 2 different stories. We thought it was impossible to publish it, but we made our publisher in Norway. He's a wimp, so we just made it. You do that, and he did it. and it was a success.
I was almost certain that choosing Kurt Schwitters as my motive was a very stupid idea, and also Stefan told me, oh, you don't make it easy for yourself, you know, nobody knows about this guy. Yeah. But by some incredible coincidence, he's now like hitting the surface, and this year there will be a big Kurt Schwitters exhibition in Oslo. And now
they're just in London.
And also in London in a couple of years, so it's strange things happen, you know, in our advantage. So
there's a major exhibition of Kurt Schwitters, the scientific and also the art that you were invited to. They were big fans of your work.
So I made contact with some people who had a big workshop in London, and they are really impressed, I guess I should say. Of how we work, and it's really interesting to be invited into these more scientific areas, because that's where we really are in a way.
Then you know you've done your homework.
Yeah. You meet your teacher and she says, yeah, this is good, Lars.
Are there other artists which you like to make biographies about?
Oh
yeah, you have the Berliner Georg Gross.
Yeah.
He's really,
that's for you, huh?
That's it. I think we're going to do that together.
Together?
Yeah, we'll do that together.
That will be, I guess, our main new...
We love him equally much, I think.
And he has
Is it sure that you will make it, George Gross? Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
We are about to start right away. We already did some research in Berlin.
I guess we've done research for many years because he's like one of our really favorite drawers. Actually,
Yeah.
he's like a fantastic drawer, and he has a very exciting life. Of course, he's living in a dramatic area, and the Weimar period is of course fantastic to dive into. And
When he was a young dandy, when he was a young artist. So he painted his face white and his lips red, and he had the walking stick with a dead man's head on and it just sat at the cafe.
And he has also a fantastic, what do you call it, autobiography that he's made. Eine kleines,
Kleiner, ja. Nein, Kleiner Nein und dann großes Ja, Nein.
ja, vielleicht,
Something.
yeah, which is also very good. So then you have
A big yes and
a big yes and a big no, I don't remember, something like that, not important. So then you also have the important, material that you need for this kind of a project to start it, Then you have to get the feeling that everything you need exists to make it possible.
And the funny thing is that he's renowned for lying in his autobiography. So we'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
That's funny. That's a challenge.
There's one part in Olaf Gudbrandsson when we, in the book, actually makes we arrest ourselves. We claim something early in the book, and then later in the book we discover that this is wrong.
Yeah.
So that's interesting with comic books. You can do these really strange things.
We also have one of Olaf Gudbrandsson that has been telling. First time he tells the story.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, things like that are only possible in a comic book.
No, it's not possible in a comic book, but we did it anyway. It's never been done before, I think.
I think the really good thing about doing Olaf G was and the way we did it was that we discovered that there were so many things possible with a comic book to do, and you can really mix genres and stuff, and everything was really possible, but it was never done before. So it was just we just scraped the surface, I think.
Well, it was like coming to a virgin country. It was nothing is explored. You can do anything. Everything is open.
That's true.
Yeah, that was we are still in that mood. There are no limits.
And as
suddenly you break free from the medium, from the cliches that the way you do comics like this, and suddenly we found an opening. That's like having a rocket on your back.
Yeah.
And are there other artists you think about?
Yeah, Chris Ware. Yeah, he's big time.
That has nothing to do with Norway or with Germany?
No.
No, that's...
But we
That's
will
strange.
not make a
He's
book
brilliant.
about him.
We won't make a book about him.
But
He's a boring person. You met him, but he's a genius. He's a true genius of comics in our time.
But you are especially interested in the German-Norwegian relationship, so?
Well, not it's as Stefan said, more of a coincidence that we really like the artists from maybe the Weimar area or the Expressionists, or that area is really strong in Germany. It was extremely important, and it's still extremely important. So
actually, it's coincidental that it's about painters as well.
Yeah.
It could have been about musicians. Or
we have some other kind of people lined up that we're going to work about that are not.
Will it be Otto Dix? Will it be Francis Bacon? Will it be Charles Mingus? We have no idea.
But one thing that I think is really healthy about this is, usually comic book artists have a tendency to look only at comic books. It gets really narrow and isolated. But when we started doing this, you open your horizon really good. It's really healthy, I think, to have a really open mind, and then you get this influence, and then things start to happen also in the comic book page and the way you tell the stories.
Everything is possible. You don't have to make comics like they have been made before. You can. It's a medium that you can do anything you want to.
You think not many people do what is possible in a medium comic?
No, I think it's like if you compare to film, that's been very much explored and expanded. I would say 90% of comics today are they are still on the silent movie stage.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so.
And then there are some brilliant works.
Silent movies. They were funny, funny but brilliant.
Great art form, yes.
Yes.
Not all, yeah.
But
No, not all.
No, not all. 90%. There's only 10% of innovation at the most.
The silent movie were also a great art form. Great movies, but
Definitely.
Yes.
yeah.
But it matured and it's okay to have
Maybe there's
Coppola and
maybe there's something which
to have Stanley Kubrick and so on. There are not too many of those guys in comics. I think there are a lot of them in movies.
is it possible a version of sound or color, something like that exists somewhere in the medium comic, and it will come. The sound, the color of the medium comic. Nobody thinks about it today.
Do you understand?
If
You see, if the comics are today silent movies.
And
Maybe
now
something exists like sound or like color.
we are doing,
Maybe it will happen. Or
well, of course,
nobody thinks about it
we are going
today.
into an area where people are like talking about the books stop existing. You know, that's like the main discussion now. I guess on every major book festival, they're talking about like the book on a computer. And how will the comic book page survive there? I have no idea. I really fear it.
He's talking about
maybe
the avant-garde, the innovation,
or the internet.
the
The
development.
panels are not so important, or the page where you only look at the picture and can
I think it has begun, but that's why I say 90% is silent movie. You have 10% that's active and
that's avant-garde. And they
they are taking another step. It's
you will see.
we don't know if it would be mainstream.
We will see.
Movies became mainstream. I don't know about comics. It's not mainstream yet.
Yeah, some parts which works become mainstream, I think. Huh? Maybe some of the parts you used will also become mainstream. Huh? What do you think?
You never know, but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't.
You never know.
No, I'm quite
Couldn't be sure.
disillusioned with. I think I have and you as well. We have an idiotic way to always avoid the mainstream, so we will never get popular.
Well, yeah. I will be surprised if we will.
There will only be connoisseurs who really love us, and then the great crowds ignore us.
But
That's
really
what
would,
we're used to anyway.
I mean, we really would want to have a lot of readers,
Yeah,
of
we
course,
would.
but
We really do.
But you know, you can't. We feel that we can't make a comic book with that in the back of our head. You know. Now I'm doing a comic book and I will succeed. You know. Then I think you have then you are on the wrong track.
Yeah.
So we haven't maybe told this, but we can't earn enough money on our comic book to survive on it. So we do also commercial work like illustrations. That's like our economically the base.
Yeah. Book cover, the side book covers and stuff like that.
Illustration work in newspapers.
And your comics help you to get jobs?
So, we are kind of famous in Norway, and then that's because of the comics, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what they call us.
I could never figure that out if that is true or not true actually. I
What?
don't. We are really we are famous, but if we get jobs of it, I don't know. It's hard to say.
They know of us because of the
Yeah.
comics, and if they didn't know of us, we wouldn't get any jobs.
But
Would you call a guy you don't know?
No, but then it's like
Never heard of?
the very strange. This
Maybe I call a guy I don't know.
Can you make it drawing for me?
Wrong number, but make a picture. Okay, I think that's the time where we had to go to the Comicfestival Museum, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm starting to ramble, so.
Ja. Also, wir machen jetzt einen kleinen Spaziergang. Wir gehen über.
Kannst du mir das mal das Bild vom Comicfestival produzieren?
Wir gehen jetzt rüber ins Karlstadt-Museum.
So,
Gucken uns die
Cheese.
Olaf Gold-Museum Ausstellung an und gehen dann rüber ins alte Rathaus. Es ist nötig, dass ihr diese Bände habt. Die könnt ihr zur Not, wenn ihr sie noch nicht habt, im Valentin-Karlstadt-Museum kaufen.